welcome to the channel. This is Yvonne from Ginger Chick Rehab. I'm so glad that you popped on checking out what I am up to today. So in today's video, I am taking some of my state sale finds and making them over. These are salvaged goods, and I'm just sharing the process of how I get them cleaned up to make them into beautiful home decor.
Well, I'm assuming that this might have been like a ash bucket maybe. So yes, I power washed everything because they were all super dirty, as you could see. So then let them dry completely overnight. Now the thing, I love rusty and crusty, but the problem with rusty and crusty is that it attracts dust and debris. So if you want to have this in your home or on your outside area, I just like to seal it in with some of this weather defense. So that's going to smooth out the texture without taking away the patina. The same thing with this little tin. I love the color. I love that rusty crustiness of it, but the texture is just going to attract cotton, dust, spider webs, what have you, wherever you have it. So this weather defense is really great for metals. It's great for outside. And what it's going to do, as I said before, is just going to seal that all in, and it's going to give it a smoother texture so it won't be attracting all that stuff to attach to it. I do apply 2 coats, making sure that I get everything covered, even that handle. It's wonderful for that. So see, it does not detract or take anything away from that patina, that beautiful I've aged patina. But now I want to add a little something on it to make it just pop a little bit more to attract somebody's attention. And my friend Sarah from the Piglet's Closet hooked me up with these. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at these. So not only is it aged grain sack, but it's also animals. And you know, I am a sucker for animals. And they are little. They are perfect for these little buckets. So now just deciding which one to put on is the hard part. I think for this one, I'm just going to go ahead with that rooster. He has some beautiful green on his breast area that will match this bucket perfectly. It's funny, in all our auctions hauls that we have been getting a ton of scissors, these black-handled scissors. And actually, I grabbed them to cut most things. They have lasted longer for the sharpness. They came sharp to us than any of the scissors that I have out in our workshop. So absolutely love these. So I'm just cutting it from the 4 squares and then cutting off that excess that I do not need. Now these little squares that I got this time are a little bit more fabric-like, meaning that they have some fibers in them. So they're thicker than the 18 gauge that I normally use when you order. A lot of times you have the 10 pound, the 18 pound, and then this that has the fibers in it, but it is distressing just as easy as any of the other paper for me. I want to distress these edges of the papers to match the age of this bucket. I want to make it look like this is a label that has worn off with time. So I am really gearing these to be used outdoors if somebody chooses to. So this is an outdoor Mod Podge. So this can withstand being wet, the water. So now all I have to do is I'm trying to center my grain sack stripes because, you know, I have that problem of I always think I'm just going to slap something together and I just can't do it. So, yep, I'm just centering that line with the handle on the bucket, and then I'm just going to put a nice coat of this Mod Podge down. So now I could have cut the paper down even more and gone underneath the gold stripes if I wanted to, but you know, you kind of just, when you're in the moment, you just have to make that judgment call what you think will look good. And if you notice on the paper, it has a wreath around the rooster, so I didn't really want to cut into that to put it underneath that gold line. I am going to go around the edges, one to help make sure that all my edges are glued down, and also I don't want that shiny of the glue to dry, so I want to make sure that I get that off the metal. So shout out again to Tracy for sending me this wonderful holder for round objects. And Tracy, if you have a store link for this, there are plenty of people that would love the link to buy them from you. Thought I would test out another way to distress the edges of your paper. See, you can see those fibers in there. And if you're a little intimidated by holding a sander to a paper, I get that. I get that. I've done it a lot, so I'm not intimidated by it. But so all I'm going to do, yep, I'm just going to stick my finger in water. And then just wet the side of the paper and then just pull the paper off. So the main part of this is paper, so it does really rip easy. So I just want something to distress those edges to make it not look like crisp new lines. Then I'm just going to use that back seam as my guide of where to line up my grain sack stripes. I know it doesn't really matter, but to me it does. So yep, I'm just going to center it with that. And I just thought there's a little bit of a red hue on the bottom of this little cute sheep. Oh my gosh, I just am in love with this paper. I need more, and I need more now because now my mind is going crazy of projects I can use this on. But yes, so yep, going to do the same thing with the outdoor Mod Podge. I want to age my paper a little bit more, so got some antiquing wax, but I also have some black wax that I'm going to mix together and just fade in so it looks like not only has the paper worn off with time, but it's also aged with time. Then after that wax is dry, I'm going to go back in and put a protective coat of the weather defense on the paper. And I know at first you're like, oh my gosh, it just took away the whole patina, but it's wet paper right now. We just have to let it dry. Now, if I only shared with you how much stuff came out of the inside of this barrel, and not only when I was power washing was I power washing it to clean, but I was also power washing it trying to get all that red paint that somebody had sprayed on it. So now that it's sat for a couple days, I know that it is good and dry. I'm actually going to use some watered down antiquing wax to bring it back and give it a little bit more life, because right now it just looks dry. The red really stands out. I just want to tie the age of this all together. I didn't worry about the inside. The inside is red. It is what it is. Somebody used this probably as a trash can maybe. I just really want to bring some life back into this because everybody else seemed to be scared off at the auction by how dirty and gross this was, but not me. When I can get something cheap, I'll get my hands dirty and give it a good bath. My main purpose here is to get it into this really dry wood. Let it sit for a second or two while I'm applying it all the way down and then just wiping off the extra. And yep, I'm going right on top of that metal, trying to work it behind the metal. But I really think once this is dry, it's really going to bring this right back to life. So I love metal dustpans. It's something that you don't see very often anymore. So when I saw this one, I thought I have to save it now. Whew, there's a lot of rust on this bad boy, and as I have already power washed it, you can tell that fabric is still trying to attach to it. So I thought about doing the weather defense, but I really thought that if I use this Farmall paint, that you can use this outdoors. It's going to bring it back to life, and also as it dries down, because I didn't sand it, you're going to see all that texture of that rust underneath. Then along with this, oh my goodness. So when we bought this at an estate sale, y'all, Chris had to take it off. It was hooked to the well system when they sold it. So luckily we do carry tools on us to be able to take it off. So yes, I think that was another reason we were able to get our hands onto it, because probably most people didn't have tools with them to remove it. But as you saw, well, maybe because it had lots of algae growing on it, but getting it cleaned up and then a fresh coat of black paint, when I can get my hands on this is what sells for me, is it painting these black. And I just really love the Rust-Oleum Farm Implement paint, because it just gives a great protection and just pops these right back to life. So now I was lucky enough to get my hands on 2 more milk cans, one with a lid, one without a lid. One was from a garage sale and the other was from a local thrift store. But super excited about this. And yes, this has some numbering on it and this one does not, but I'm still going to be making these over. As you see, this one is super shiny in silver, but there's something a little bit wrong with that lid, so I'm just taking a rubber mallet and hammering it back down. I'm not going to try to pop it off and look what's inside. I'm hoping that there's nothing inside of this one. So I'm just going to go ahead and just get it wiped down. I'm not going to sand it. I like the patina of the unevenness, so when I'm washing it off, if any of the paint chips off, that is perfectly fine. And what I giggled about what was on the inside, because once I took these fake flowers out that were from the thrift store, and so then I looked inside. Oh, oh my goodness. I'm like, oh my, I did not even think that I was going to need to power wash this one. So I got it flipped over, and yeah, first off, I got to go get all this stuff off the bottom of it. I didn't look dirty in the thrift store by any means. So yeah, nope, I didn't power wash it. So now I get the fun of trying to clean it out when I have it in my shop. So yeah, the bottom of it right now is the least of my worries. Okay, well, I did get them all cleaned up, and now I'm going to be using that same Farm Implement paint. It is shinier than I would like it to be on some things, but just the way that it withstands up to the weather is just awesome, especially when it comes to metal. I'm going to go to my Cricut and make a couple stencils. I really like adding a little bit of wordage to these milk cans, and I definitely like to keep it along the dairy type of theme. So I went with Milk Co. and Dairy Co., one for each, and now I want to add a little bit of a curve to it just because it's a really round object. So I'm hoping that that doesn't make my lettering go wonky. I've done them straight before and I always felt like I maybe need to curve them just a little bit visually. Now I'm just going to be using some of my Kills paint and primer for my lettering, just a stencil brush, just do a couple coats until it is covered. And then after I help it dry with a heat gun, I'm going to do a little bit of antiquing wax to give it a little bit of age. I like black and white look, but I don't want it to look so crisp white. So I'm using the heat gun here also to help release the sticky on the tape. Hopefully it's not going to pull my paint off, which I did not have any luck, y'all. Oh, so yep, heating up that permanent vinyl usually works, but the thing with the Farmall paint, it is dry to the touch, but it really does take 2 weeks to cure. So as I start to take my stencil off, can you see it? Yeah, so it's one of those projects I'll have to go back in and touch up around the lettering. Sometimes that's just is what it is. Yep. Figured why put my extra tape on there if this is probably going to pull a little bit of the paint off also. So I'm like, yeah, I'll just try not to get any extra work for myself by getting it painted. So yep, I'll just heat that up, see how much of the paint underneath comes off. Now, I couldn't help but add these in just a little bit ago when we were yard sale shopping. Chris picked up these because I thought he was looking at the nuts and bolts that were all in these, but no, he was actually picked them up for the cheese boxes that were in there. Now, a lot of times back in the day, this is what people used as their cubbies in their workshop, and so they usually have lots of grease on it, and unfortunately, these have been painted. So what I'm sharing with you in just this how to clean these up. A lot of times that wording is still underneath all that grease. It's still underneath all that paint that may have been spray painted. So all I'm doing is taking a 220 sandpaper and I am just gingerly sanding. I'm trying not to remove the wording, but I'm trying to remove the paint and the grime that has built up over time. I'm not so much worried about the inside as it is the outside. So we can still use these as decorative pieces. That I have 99% of the paint removed and a lot of that grime so you can actually see the wording. I'm just going back in with some antiquing wax and just freshening this up. This should make that wording pop again. So just in case you ever run across these and you're like, even an old box, you're like, oh no, it's been spray painted just like that barrel, you know, with a little bit of elbow grease. Usually you can get that paint to come off most of this aged wood.
So thank you so much for watching today's video, and what did you think? Yes, finding these salvage pieces, they're usually very, very dirty and in need of so much attention because a lot of them have spent some time outside in somebody's workshop. So I just love sharing the process with you all, how to get these cleaned up and make them beautiful again. So thanks for watching today's video, guys, and we will see you next time and you can see what we're up to. Bye!